In today's video, I'm going to be talking about how our son deals with not having any awareness of any danger in the home and outside of our home. I'm also going to be talking about tools you can use to keep your child safe, as well as the ones that we use for our son to keep him safe in the home and outside of the home. Being a parent to an autistic child comes with a lot of challenges. And one of the big ones that we face every day with Logan is his, or lack thereof, fear of any type of danger that's out there. Our son will walk right onto a road. We live in a cul-de-sac type neighborhood, and our roads are not real busy. It's just, a couple neighbors that live down the road. But our son will walk right onto a road, not realizing he could hit by a car. He also will touch the stove if it's hot. He has done that in the past as a child, and we tell him every single time he comes into the kitchen, especially if I'm in here in the kitchen, I tell him every time if I'm cooking, Logan, do not touch this, it is hot. Now that he's older, he has grasped the concept a little bit of, if the stove's hot, don't touch it. But he will still try to attempt to touch sometimes, which is terrifying, because it's hard to explain to them that they will get hurt because he does it so many times. When he was younger, he did it so many times. I was like, how does he not understand? After doing this so many times, you touch it, it's going to hurt your hand. And Logan is still learning the process of, there's dangers out there. There's things that can hurt you. Another one is when he was probably between like 3 and 5 years old. He would open the door randomly to strangers. We'd have people that, came and worked on our house for different things, repairmen and things like that would come. And he would just open the door to them. And I'm like, you can't just, I know who it is and I know they're at the door, but my son doesn't know these people. And he just opens the door and is like, hi. And that's terrifying as a mother because you want them to understand, you can't open the door to people you don't know. You need to say, who's there. It's a skill that he is still learning and, trying to develop that part of his brain that says, okay, I can't touch this because I know it's hot. I can't go into the street because I know a car will come hit me. I can't open the door because there might be somebody that I don't know that's a stranger. Things like that. And it's just very hard for him to grasp. But as he's getting older, it's every day a constant reminder, which is not my favorite thing to do, but there are a lot of repetitions in this house that we have to do to keep Logan safe. And to kind of help with those, we have some tools in the house that me and my husband use to keep Logan safe so that some of these things don't happen. And I'm going to tell you what some of those are. Our front door also has locks on it. We have a deadbolt on it. We also have a latch on top of our door for safety precautions to keep Logan in because he will open the door for random strangers. And to me as a parent, that's terrifying. We've explained to him several times you cannot open the door for complete strangers. You need to ask who's there. Or you need to wait for mommy or daddy to come to the door. Don't ever open the door unless we're there. We tell him that every single time. Another safety precaution we have is our backyard is fenced in. And for good reason. It is every parent's worst fear that your child goes missing and that you're not able to find them. It is also an even scarier thought that you may never see your child again. I unfortunately have had to deal with this several times as Logan was growing up. The worst one I had to deal with was the very first time my child went missing. When he was about 3 and a half, our backyard was not fenced in yet. I turned my back for maybe 10-15 seconds in our backyard, and Logan just disappeared. I was frantically looking for him. I asked my husband, I said, did you see Logan? He said, no, I thought he was with you. And I said the same thing. I said, well, I thought he was with you. I said, he was just here in the backyard. We looked everywhere for Logan. I was on the phone with the police department in our area. I was crying hysterically to the point the operator told me that she could not understand me because I was crying so much. And I told her, I said that my son is autistic. He is 3 years old. I said, he has no form of communication whatsoever. I said, so if somebody finds him, I said, they're not going to be able to understand him, say his name. He does not know where he lives. I said, he has no identification on him whatsoever. I said, if he gets hurt somewhere, I said, you're not going to be able to hear him scream for help. I said, because he can't. He is nonverbal. I had to explain to the operator what my son was wearing that day. I had to describe every single detail of my son. And the worst part of all, which I never thought I would ever have to hear, is if I had access to his dental records, if I had access to a piece of hair, if he were to come up, if he was missing for a longer period of time, if I had stuff to identify his body with. That was the absolute worst thing I've ever had to hear in my life. I had hoped I'd never, ever have to make a phone call to the police saying that my child was missing. We searched for what seemed like forever for Logan, as I'm on the phone talking to the operator, telling me where I thought he might go. What things did I think would be interesting to him that he would go to? And I told her, I don't know. I said, I know he likes water. I said, but we have no water around here. I said, the closest water hazard we have is the golf course. I said, but I don't think he would go that way. I said, because you have to cross a main road. I said, from our cul-de-sac. I said, and I don't think he could walk that far. I said, I don't put it past him. I said, because, he's pretty quick. I said, it took him 15 seconds to disappear. I said, so I wouldn't put it past him that he'd try to cross a main road. He has no sense of danger whatsoever. I said, he'll get hit by a car. And it's terrifying. After looking for my son for what seemed like forever, and then actually realizing it had only been 15 minutes, I was on the phone with the police department. We finally found my son. Our neighbors across the fence there, between our properties, they have a playground in their backyard. That's where we found my son Logan. I heard a child laughing, and I thought it was the neighbor kids. And I'm walking around the houses there looking for him, calling Logan's name, knowing he won't answer me, but calling anyway. And I happen to look over on the playground, and there's my son on their playset. The mother's outside on the phone. She was also on the phone with the police department because a random child had showed up in her backyard and was playing on their playset. And when I finally talked to her, she told me, she goes, I had tried asking him his name, and he just looked at me and just smiled at me. She goes, and then just kept right on playing. She said, and I kept asking, do you know your name? Where are your mommy and daddy? And she said, he just looked at me, and I said, he's not going to be able to tell you. I said, he's nonverbal. I said, that's what I was just trying to talk to the police department about, and they kept telling me, well, is there any way he's going to be able to say anything? I said, no, he's not going to be able to tell you anything. I said, he's nonverbal. He has no communication. I said, he's just starting services. I said, so he can speak. I said, and he's not going to be able to tell you anything. I thanked the police department for everything they did because they showed up right after I had seen Logan on the playset. They literally pulled right up to the neighbor's house when she was on the phone, and I was on the phone. And I told the police officer, I said, that's my son. I said, we found him. I said, he's okay. I said, he's not hurt. I said, he's okay. And I thanked her. I told her, I said, thank you so much. I said, for getting here as quickly as you did. I said, to help me find my son. I said, but he's okay. I said, we found him. I said, he seems to be all right. He doesn't seem to be hurt or anything. And I was just so relieved that we found my son. But also in the same time, absolutely terrified, because what if I hadn't found my son? Which was what was running through my mind. What if I didn't find Logan? What if he was hurt? There were just so many things that were going through my mind, especially with what the operator was telling me, that if I couldn't find him within the 24 hours, I had to produce stuff to identify his body if he would be found. And that was absolutely the most terrifying words I've had to hear as a mother. I did not want to hear those words, but in the reality, I had no idea where my kid was. And that was terrifying. And it was just something I really had hoped I'd never have to deal with again. But being the mother of my son, that I love immensely, he has done it to me several times when he was younger. Until we had our fence built, I had begged my husband, I said, please, please, please put up a fence. I said, I cannot do this anymore. I said, because he takes off and I don't know where he'll go. I said, what if we can't find him the next time? And he takes off someplace that's not the playground next door. I said, what if he goes farther than that? I said, what if he tries to cross the road? I said, he'll get hit by a car. I said, he doesn't understand this. I said, we need to build a fence. And the fence is an absolute godsend. I said, because I could not get through a single day without having that fence. I would have to find something. I don't even know what I could do to prevent him from leaving the yard if I didn't have the fence. Because it was a constant daily struggle of me yelling at him to stay in the yard. I could not leave the backyard. I could not come inside for a second to get a drink. I could not go to the bathroom. I could not do a single thing. I had to sit outside or stand outside and watch my son at all times because the second I took my eyes off him, he was gone. And I hated it every single second. I will admit that. I hated not having a fence because it made my life a living nightmare. I could not get anything done. I just could not take my eyes off him. And it was absolutely just miserable that I couldn't keep him safe enough because there's just so many things there he's not aware of. And it was hard for me to do that every single day. So now we have a fence that has the proper locks on it so that he can knock it out without our help. And every day I am so thankful that we have a fence because it is the best thing we have ever gotten to keep our children safe. So, as a parent, I will say it is an absolute struggle every single day to keep my child safe. And if you have a child with autism, you know the same struggle. They also make, for the inside of our home, they make baby gates. So if your child needs to be kept out of certain areas, you can block them off with multiple baby gates. I have heard of people putting multiple baby gates up to keep your child out of areas that might be harmful or dangerous to them. They also have locks, special magnetic locks you can put on your cabinets. We have several of those in my kitchen. One for my cleaners underneath my sink, as well as our medicine cabinet, because our son will get into medicine. He will get into cleaners. I had a time when he was younger where he grabbed the Febreze container when I was spraying the house up, and I left it on the counter and went to go do something else, not realizing he could get it. He decided to take it to his room and spray his window, spray his bed, spray the whole floor. His whole room smelled like apple cinnamon. It was fantastic. I said, but I had to scrub everything down. He emptied an entire can, and it was like, thank God he didn't drink it, because, I mean, it's just... Logan is basically like a tiny toddler I have to follow around every single day. Even though he's 7 years old, he is basically like a little toddler. I have to follow him around all the time because I never know what he's going to get into. I never know if he's going to take off on me. It's just a constant what if pretty much every single day. It is if I, it's just a constant battle with Logan until we get to the point where he's able to understand the dangers that are out there and the things that could potentially hurt him. But in the meantime, we have things in place that keep him safe. So, I mean, there's things out there to look. If your child needs some extra protection in your home, going outside the home. The only things that we've been able to use for Logan outside of the home to keep him safe is he has a harness when he goes to school for on the bus, and he also has one in the car. I'm going to do a video later on how we get Logan in the car with this particular harness he has, because he tends to roam around the vehicles, not realizing that if we get in an accident, he could get hurt because he's not in his car seat. So, we also have specialized headphones for him, for if the noise is too loud. Like when we went to a truck pull not long ago. I believe it was this past summer we went. And it got to be too much for him. We had the headphones. The headphones helped cancel out some of that sound. They have noise-canceling headphones. That helped him. And it was great because it made the issue a lot less worse for him. But there are things out there that you can do to help your child so that the world can be a little bit safer for them to, do the things they have to do. If your child struggles with the same issue, that they have no awareness of danger, I sympathize with you. I do this every single day. 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, I am constantly Logan's shadow. Because I never know what's going to happen next. I never know if I turn my back for 5 seconds if my child will take off. I never know if he's going to touch the stove if it's hot. I never know what new dangers lie ahead for my son to try to explore or see how that's going to affect him. But I do know that every day it is a new chance to teach my son the do's and don'ts of things that could potentially harm him. And every day I have to remind him of certain things. And like I said, it's a major repetition. I don't like doing it every day. But it keeps my child safe. And over time, he is learning. There are things that he now knows not to do. There are some things we're still working on, like not taking off on mommy, which is a big one. But he is learning. And it's taking a while, but that's okay. When he finally gets it, it'll be awesome. And it'll be one less thing that I have to worry about with Logan. It'll be another notch of him becoming an independent kid. Of saying, okay, I know this is what I need to do and what I not need to do. And for me as a parent, that's all I can ask of Logan. Is to just every single day just keep learning and exploring, but also trying to be careful. And for him, it's not always easy. It's a trial and error. And as a parent, I just have to be there to make sure that my child is safe. Because that's my job, and I love it.